Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. The sun is shining, and it is very cold outside. All of the ice that landed a few days back when it snowed is still out there. Yay! I slept, have my window open and fans on, so the bedroom is cold, though I stay warm, but I have my bed sheets so that my feet from the knees down are uncovered. Yay! Hopefully you slept, hopefully you had a good night, and hopefully it's going to be a good day for you. Front loading of videos. Hey, if you could toss me a like, it'd be awesome. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be very cool. If you could leave me a comment, that'd be double plus good. And I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These are literally beautiful and literally awesome people that are helping to keep me and my aging pet metabolizing. We both appreciate that very, very much. If you would like to help keep me and my aging pet metabolizing, I have links to my PayPal in the video description, along with links to my Patreon down in the video description, along with a PayPal for possible donations, an Amazon wishlist link with things like pet food on it. At least, hopefully, I have to double check that. And if you've ever seen me talk about my post office box, that's going away here real soon, so it's not there anymore. Yay! Front loading the video is over. Oh boy, it hasn't been a lot of stuff happening, but at least there has been life going on, and that's good. I fell asleep for far too long yesterday, yay, in my chair here, because I have a sleep deficit that's huge, years long, so I keep falling asleep when slow things happen. Plus, with my ADHD, when I take caffeine capsules, because I take 200 milligram caffeine capsules, I tend to get sleepy after I take those. I sleep better if I take a 200 milligram caffeine capsule before going to bed than if I don't take a caffeine capsule before going to bed. It is dangerous to take more than 400 milligrams of caffeine in a day. I will take up to a full gram in a day, and my blood pressure and pulse stay low, and I sleep well. ADHD for the win. But checking out on my list here, I do not have a ton of stuff, but I do want to talk about a few things. Like, yeah, I went out on very, very cold walkies last night. It was colder than it has been, but there was very, very less wind. Very, very less? There was much less wind. And so, with the chill factor and all that, when you got wind rushing past you, so it being relatively stiller, it wasn't as bad. But when I got back, the backs of my wrists started just immediately to itch. And as soon as I washed my hands, bright red and welts and itchy. Just awful. I have to wash my hands. I'm out in the cold. It is still just weird. I have never had an allergic reaction to anything in the past. But now on the backs of my wrists, I have allergic reactions to cold. Yay? And checking out on the rest of my list here, which again doesn't have a whole lot, because after falling asleep, I tried to do some recording, but one of the problems that I've got these days is decreased motivation, and I'm not sure exactly where a lot of that's coming from. It's not the meds. I've been medicated this way and that way all my life. It's things started to change with my motivation once I started to understand that I have ADHD, severe ADHD, that I am an autistic person, that along with my depression comes the social anxieties, the social awkwardness. I am basically a hermit. I talk to people online. I count many people online as friends, but IRL, face-to-face meet space, I don't have any real friends. The thing is, though, I don't get lonely. I am separate, but not isolated, alone, but not lonely. When I feel the need for human contact, I go out for a walk. And I get around human artifacts and around people without actually interacting with people, and that does the trick, largely. I mean, it's kind of sad in a way. I mean, I remember having friends, but even then, back in the when I was drinking and had more friends, but was starting to really socially isolate, I still had friends, but even when I was with them, I was trying to find ways to not be around them so I could be alone. I mean, my conditions now where I am, I've been happening for a very long time. Again, in 1976, 1977, just as I was going into high school, I stopped watching television. I wasn't interested in TV. I'm still not interested in television. I don't care. I never have. A few things I have watched. I love the show Twin Peaks. I used to watch Adult Swim on Cartoon Network with my wife when she was alive. And we used to watch House all the time. So I have watched, but it's never been for me. It's always been around other people, except for the Twin Peaks thing. But even these days, I tried to watch a couple years back the movie Train to Busan. Loved it. Loved it. Couldn't finish it. I just don't like sitting and watching things for that long. I can watch YouTube videos for up to a half hour, but once it starts getting over a half hour, I generally can't, and so I just can't watch the long ones. Yay for ADHD. But I have been withdrawing for decades. Even when I was in the Air Force, and I got out of the Air Force when I was 23 years old. When I first went in, I was really seeking out groups of role players, and I was playing games like Dungeons and Dragons and RuneQuest and all that. By the time I got out 4 years later, I had already stopped. I was socially withdrawn enough that I still went with friends and I still talked with my friends, but by the time I was out, I was just getting my computer ready and staying by myself on my Commodore 64 for a weekend. I'd buy like a bottle of rum and then just play like The Bard's Tale all weekend by myself and drink the bottle. I was a horrible alcoholic. Well, actually, as an alcoholic, I was very good at being an alcoholic. It's just, that's not a skill you want to be good at. So I'm socially awkward and withdrawn, but let me go on with other things now, because I want to talk about the movie Cocaine Bear for a bit. I've seen reviews where, some people just think it's awesome. Some people think it's absolutely terrible. I think it's probably right in the middle. From what it sounds like, they could have made it awesome. They kind of fumbled the ball, so mostly you can see what they were shooting for, and there was still good stuff, but they put too much in. So the movie Cocaine Bear is not going to be as good as it could be, but I still want to sort of see it, but I don't actually sit down and watch things, so we shall see on that. But yeah, I fully am behind. I think they probably put too much plot into it, because really all I want to see when I go through a movie like this is just a drug-fueled, murderous bear just tearing its way through scores of human beings. I want to see corpses everywhere. I want to see this drug-fueled bear doing what it does. I mean, it's fictional, but that's such an awesome bloody idea. Thumbs up. Which ties into, of course, I still think that as a movie maker, if I were a movie maker, I would make a series of movies that are just called, it's like murdering half-naked young people painfully and violently, number one. And then it's just a series of events that are just excuses to get half-naked young people into an area and then murder them graphically and violently. No need for a story, just good practical effects. Yeah, of course, it's just a movie, you don't hurt anyone, but it's just a movie where you're concentrating on just murdering people, and I think that'd be good. Now, there is one thing that I have been thinking of quite a bit, ever since, now this is on the creative side, so thumbs up if you listen, thank you. I have been really going off and thinking about the rest of the world, because when I first started with the cryptid part of the setting, there was just one character and then another one showed up. And then that's all there was for a time, and then it blew up into the whole cryptid population and civilized cryptids in Brookerton, South Carolina. And then with the idea of the whole Dark Carnival, it's exploded out more worldwide, giving me a greater view of what's happening, at least in the United States, if not around the rest of the world. I have been thinking about that since I have spent a lot of time determining what feral, rural, and urban cryptids are like, with urban cryptids, of course, being broken down into various subtypes, like the suburban urban cryptid, like Calvin Tisdale, whom these people grow up and live in suburban areas, and they live and look and act and love and live among and die like the rest of us in the community. And then there are those that are like the urban cryptids in Brookerton, South Carolina, where they basically still live like animals as they have for hundreds of thousands of years. But they're happy with their lot because they don't have a choice. If your only default option for your mental state is fuzzy happiness, that's the only choice you have, to be fuzzily happy. So they're happy in that that's the only option that's given to them. And of course, there are other urban types, because you need to act within your nature. It is an actual genetic imperative. Act within your nature. Urban cryptids live in urban settings. If they try to live in a rural setting, they will eventually, because they're acting outside of their nature, feel physically, mentally, and emotionally terrible until they do move into an urban setting. There are the further subdivisions, like the family that I was talking about in the short story, where if you look at it from the human side, this person shows up at a 2-pad RV park in the middle of nowhere on a side state highway. It's out of the way, but there's traffic, and it's a convenience store, gas station, 2-pad RV park on the edge of a lake. And the person who's driving this RV goes in there, and while he's there, the people that run the place, they invite him to a cookout. He feels like he's just drugged. He finds out they're actually eating the person that drove the other recreational vehicle that showed up after he got there. And then the next morning, these people have dumped the vehicle the guy showed up in and given him a whole bunch of human meat and blood to eat and drink as he goes on, because they're happy to be a part of his new life. But from the cryptid side of this, they're not bad people. I mean, from our point of view, yes, they are. Even if you only eat one person, of course, kill them with fire. But if from the cryptid point of view, they are very good people. It's Jack Dempty and his family, his wife Monica, and his 3 daughters. And it's Barbary, Nis, and Annie. His two of his daughters are cryptid. His 3rd daughter and youngest, Annie, is human, as he is, and they're just waiting for puberty to happen so that her 3rd eye will open. And he's human, his daughter is human. Monica is a urban cryptid, but one of the far out urban type cryptids, because they're still urban, they're just out of the way. They're not totally in the middle of nowhere. They're within driving distance of a town, but they're just out there by themselves. Still urban, not rural, but that's where they live. And for them, they actually are good people. They do their best to just run their place, keep their family going, and just raise their children so that they can go out into the world. And when they do occasionally eat someone, it's not for horrific, awful purposes, depending on your viewpoint, of course. When this one person, David Halloran, shows up in his RV, the reason all this happens is they can tell he is right on the verge of either having his genes express and become a cryptid, or having his genes express and his 3rd eye open. They can't tell. Nobody really can when this is going to happen, but he's right on the edge. And there are some people that, if you put it in game terms, if your cryptid sight, vision, presence is like at 49 and is some people are just stuck there. It doesn't matter your exposure, it'll never move. You will never be able to interact with the cryptid world. There are some that are at 49 and with exposure, it'll bump them up and they'll keep going. That exposure makes their genes express. David Halloran is one of those. He's on the verge of expressing, and with them there. They are just eager to be a part of his journey in life. And so, yeah, when this other person shows up, they're wondering, what can we do to help this guy celebrate and become a new part of his life? They want to be a part of it. So when the other RV drives up, it's like, oh, bingo, let's get that guy. And so when they invite Dave Halloran to the family cookout, it's in celebration, it's all for him. And when the guy shows up, gets ready to do the paperwork, to do the whole nighttime thing, to have his RV there, well, Monica just bum rushes him through the open door of his RV, snaps his neck up at the top, and then the daughter, Annie, at this time, she's only like 8, she eagerly, after they string the corpse up, and hang it upside down, she's the one that takes the knife and cuts his throat to drain the blood through gravity so that they can butcher and dress the body, at which point they cut off all sorts of steaks, and anything that doesn't make steaks, they take all the parts out, they grind up all the various other parts to make ground meat, and Monica and her 2 kids, well, not that her 2 kids, they're all the same family, but Monica and her 2 cryptid type children, they just eat what's left, munch on the bones, and both Jack and Annie, of course, they just have steaks as normal when they do the grilling. And David Halloran, his third eye, because of exposure, opens up. So from the cryptid point of view, they're doing something awesome. They're celebrating. And after that night, when he goes to sleep to finish his conversion process, they just, they get Jacob just takes the RV, dumps it out somewhere, drives it off a cliff into a lake so that, that guy just vanished. And then they just give David Halloran a whole bunch of human meat and blood to last him a while until he gets to where he's going and can take care of his own consumption needs at that point. So from their point of view, of course, they're just being great people. And of course, later on, when at about age 11 or 12, when little Annie starts going through puberty and her third eye opens, she just is ready. She wants it. She wants to eat someone as part of her celebration. And her view on this is, I'm one of us, and Dad is one of us, and I eat us, so I want to eat someone. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments on my community tab. Going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. If I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended, and even though I count American Sign Language, brain. We have Jesse Koskinen, thumbs up, thank you. Always good to see you in the comments, and I'm hoping to make those turbo elevators in the ground. If they still have that thing where you use like magma and kelp and you just go whoosh. So I'm hoping to get that sort of thing done. We have It's RELYT, thumbs up and thank you. There is Mike Rayburn, thumbs up and thank you as well. There is OTASLERO, greatly appreciated, thumbs up. There is Lumiria, thumbs up, thank you very, very much and appreciated. It's good to see you. Flora Mew, thumbs up, thank you. And when I talked about the whole cannabis thing yesterday, please don't take it as some sort of rebuke or anything like that. I was just talking about my life. I wasn't trying to say anything bad about anybody else. So, a very good thing. And then we have, there's Ice Damon, good to see you in the comments, and Blue Toad, who's not only sick again for the second time in 2 weeks, but chipped a tooth. Ugh. There is Chris, greatly appreciated, and RJ Mitchell, good to see you in the comments. And hey, that would be very, very awesome. And there is AV Brown, AVY Brown. So thumbs up. That is it. 11 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Greatly appreciate it. Get me out of my head, into the world, dealing with real people, if only for a short time and if only in text. Thumbs up and thank you. Salivating like crazy this morning. Yay. And of course, if you've watched this far, thumbs up and thank you very much. You've done this of your own volition, your own free will, and that is greatly appreciated. No one has forced you. I appreciate that very, very much. Well, hey, I'm going to try and just do some recording. I got something I want to solo RPG stuff that I want to do using online digital, well, not the online part, using digital tools only, but I want to show this one off. So here, hopefully I'll get that done today. Hopefully you can get done the things that you want to get done, but if not, don't beat yourself up. It's not going to help to do that. And of course, if people are getting sick where you are, take appropriate precautions. If people are getting hurt where you are, take appropriate precautions. But if you're out walking and you hear the mournful howl of the bus horn, the bus with your name on it, there really isn't any precaution that you're going to take. Your journey through life as a living, breathing human being is over, and your next part of existence as some sort of destroyed and wrecked corpse after the bus hits you is just starting. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very good thing.